Good morning, and thank you very much for joining our 16th webinar as part of Academia's virtual technology conference. Today we've got Rob Faulkner. Rob is Smoothwall's technical authority, and he will be covering a presentation on how to execute digital safeguarding on remote devices. And I can see Rob on the top right of my screen. Good morning, Rob.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks very much for having us today. Excited to be part of this virtual technology conference.
No problem at all. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I will pass straight over to yourselves just to say to the people who are joining us, thank you again. If you would like to ask any questions, please do use the chat feature. You can mark your questions with a Q when you type in the details in the chat. But I'll keep an eye, and we will certainly cover any questions at the end of the presentation. Right, Rob, I will pass over to you.
Thank you. So hi, everyone. As Ryan said, I'm Rob Faulkner. I'm Technical Authority at Smoothwall. And what I wanted to talk to you today about is how to execute digital safeguarding on remote devices. So this is a practical webinar, and it's for schools, FE colleges, and multi-academy trusts, and anyone else working in IT in education. It's a practical guide, and we'll take you through the steps that you need to ensure digital safety on remote devices. And just before we get started, I just want to let you know that some of the things we're talking about today, Smoothwall is offering free of charge until the end of the school year. So we'll give you more details on that at the end. And obviously, if you're interested in that, please get in touch with Academia, who will be more than happy, I'm sure, to facilitate that. Okay, so yeah, as Ryan said, any questions, just put them in the chat. I'll probably pick them up at the end rather than kind of as we go. But yeah, just let me know and we'll have a look at those. They don't necessarily have to be exactly about what we're talking about on the screen. Any other questions that you've got about digital safety, safeguarding, and so on, then please feel free to pop them in there, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's take a start by looking at why remote devices and why now, which I think to many of you will be quite obvious. But really, you know, lockdown has meant that schools and educators have had to really quickly respond to new ways of delivering learning. We all know that learning is really enhanced by digital devices. But at the moment, you know, we're really having to look at how do we get those into people's hands as easy as possible to provide learning wherever they might be. And some of you might be aware as well that the Department for Education has also announced that they are going to be providing some devices for vulnerable and disadvantaged children to help them continue to learn throughout this difficult time. And with that in mind, we all know that we still have to fulfill certain guidelines and regulations, such as keeping children safe in education, that require these devices to be filtered as an absolute minimum and to have some appropriate form of monitoring to ensure the safety of children. We also know that there is a significant rise in online predatory behavior and other risks that are coming forward with these devices. Now, the National Crime Agency has reported that paedophiles are actively looking to exploit the lockdown. They've identified offenders discussing opportunities to abuse children during the crisis. And police are warning of a spike in abuse with the schools closed, youngsters using unprotected devices, and also, you know, kids being more vulnerable now because, you know, they're not having face-to-face contact with their friends. They may be being more risky in terms of their online conversations, divulging details to strangers and so on. So there is a lot more opportunity for, you know, bad people to exploit this situation. And those children that were actually vulnerable prior to lockdown are probably even more vulnerable now. So they really need our support. And you know, put simply, more remote devices, all these new and emerging risks, and therefore there's never been a more greater need for digital safeguarding technology. So we really need to make sure that whatever we're doing it to the best of our ability to protect the children in our care. So when we talk about digital safety, what do we actually mean? So at Smoothwall, when we talk about content filtering, we're talking about a real-time capability that blocks harmful content the second that it goes live onto the internet with no delay whatsoever. There are kind of cheaper filters on the market that work from block lists and DNS, but they can have a lag of days and sometimes months before they can detect and block harmful content. A filter that exposes a child to harmful content, even for a second, is too long in our book. So filtering is the first element of digital safety, and it's really important to understand and make that distinction between a good and a bad filter. If you'd like more information on the filter, then of course get in touch and we can give you a demo, a walkthrough, whatever you need there. But content filtering is the keystone and the most important thing that we need to ensure for these devices. Next, we have what we call active monitoring or digital monitoring. And this is something that sits on that student device. It alerts the designated safeguarding leads, the DSLs, within a school to children at risk of harm. And that is done by monitoring their online activities, their search behavior, even how they're using sort of offline tools like, PowerPoint and Word. If they're on a forum talking about negative feelings, if they're in a Word document writing about harmful intentions, this might be a poem they're writing, but there's something in there that suggests that they might be at risk of harm. Even if they don't save it, if a risk term is detected, the monitoring picks that up and a human moderation team decides if it's a genuine risk and then contacts the school. So it's kind of like an additional pair of eyes and ears for the DSL. It makes these kind of more invisible dangers visible and enables the DSLs to get help to students quickly. Last year, 2019, our human moderation team identified a serious risk to a child's health or life every 3 minutes. And these are real dangers that would have gone otherwise unnoticed. And obviously, when the kids are not physically present in school, it's even more important because you've got so little visibility into that student's life to be able to provide the support and help that they need. Again, if you want more information on that, just let us know and we can give you a demo and a walkthrough. And the last piece I want to talk about is what we call record keeping or kind of digital record management. Our product is called Safeguard Record Manager. And this is a way to record safeguarding risks and concerns. So if your school is still using paper-based records for safeguarding, they're obviously going to find it really difficult to record and share these while everyone's in lockdown. So an online system, easy to access with the right permissions and security, allows teachers to log concerns and DSLs to track the chronology and behavior patterns of students at risk. So for example, while the school community is at home, if maybe a teacher receives an email from a student or was on a Zoom call, and there's something that wasn't quite right with that student, the teacher can log that in the record keeping portal, and then the DSL can be alerted. So that on its own might be something significant, or it might be more the kind of the build-up of several smaller incidents that when that DSL takes a step back and looks at that complete picture, they realize what's going on with that student. And doing that with paper-based records is really difficult. But with an online system, it's all there, it's all kept up to date. It's also integrated with our active monitoring solutions. So again, those risks detected there were automatically pulled into the child's record. But yeah, I mean, suffice to say that, paper-based records are not sufficient usually, but right now, in these kind of non-normal times, they're hugely inadequate and could really be jeopardizing the welfare of students. So that's our definitions. Let's have a look at how we actually kind of execute and deploy these technologies. So the first step is clearly to acquire the devices that we want to give to the students. So we mentioned that the DFE with their free provision of remote devices for vulnerable students. That's one option. Your schools might have, laptop trolleys and things like that that you can send out to students that need them. You might even have old laptops and desktops that you can re-image with Windows, or there are tools like Neverware which can convert them into a Chrome device. A Chrome device being much more straightforward and easy to manage remotely. We've been in touch with Neverware, and they are offering a discount on their tools for schools right now. So again, if you're interested in that, let us know. So once we've got the devices, we need to deploy the technology onto those. So the first one, we'll kind of combine content filtering and active monitoring because they're basically delivered in the same way. It starts off with IT because IT need to deploy clients onto these devices so that they can filter the network traffic and monitor what's on the screen and what the students are typing. Once that's done, you can deploy a login to DSLs and the safeguarding team for them to review the alerts. Maybe they want to adjust the policies with the help of IT if you want to let them. But IT still have an ongoing responsibility to make sure that the software is correctly installed and it continues to operate. So in terms of actually installing these onto the devices, we provide our monitoring and filtering with a Chrome extension. So this is really straightforward if your school's already using Google ecosystem. But if they're Windows-based, we also have group policy, Intune, and ways like that to deploy these technologies out to those devices. And if you are fortunate enough to be having Mac devices that you're handing out, then there are, of course, many MDMs available for Mac. You're probably already using them, but again, we can work with those. For the record keeping side of things, it's less about the devices themselves and more about creating that hub to record and analyze the alerts that come in from teachers. So we provide that as an online portal. You just set up your users so they can log in, and that's about it really. But one thing you might want to consider is how you handle legacy historical records that might be paper-based or in spreadsheets or whatever they are. So if they're paper-based, you probably need to scan and load them. If they're digital already, you might need to export, import those into the platform. But what I'd say is don't be put off by that workload. The most important thing is that you've got a way to log and manage these concerns remotely from now onwards. Getting the historical records is important, but the key thing is getting it live and working now. And then you might say over the summer, once you've got a bit more breathing room, let's look at importing these historical records. So that's the deployment. Then we move on to how do we engage the stakeholders into these technologies. So as we said, filtering typically stays with IT. So you don't necessarily need to engage wider stakeholders, although for reporting, you might want to bring DSLs in there so that they can run reports whenever they want. For the active monitoring, you'd need to basically introduce your DSL to the dashboard. And during the deployment, that's something we do with automated emails. And for record keeping, again, you need to distribute these logins to the DSLs and teachers. You might give them to the DSL and let them do that, or manage it from your IT team. There's no right or wrong way, whatever works best for you. Then once we've got the devices, we've deployed, we've engaged our stakeholders, it's all about how do we manage and operate that moving forward. So this is about making sure that not only are the tools installed, but they're running correctly, there's no errors. And it's obviously important to make sure you're getting back the correct data and alerts from those devices. So how can Smoothwall help with this? We are the UK leader when it comes to digital safety, and our priority right now is to help all of you as best we can to protect the students in your care, wherever they might be. As we mentioned, we're providing two of our digital safety technologies, Cloud Filter and Record Manager, free of charge to the end of the school year. We're also offering our digital classroom management tool, Classroom Manager, free too, and we're extending the free evaluation phase of our active monitoring tool as well. These are all rapid cloud-based deployments. So yeah, they can be deployed very quickly. But our experts are here to help you and guide you along that process, whether that's through live chat, phone, email, video conference. We've got a team of architects, implementation engineers on standby to help. We're all based here in the UK, and we're ready to help whenever you need it. So in summary, we of course recognise that the need for better remote learning means more remote devices are needed. Lots of different ways that these might be acquired, but the DFE providing these and schools being innovative and seeing how they can get their devices out to children is a really great thing. But this rise in online predators, risks emerging on the internet means that the digital safety is critically important. But as hopefully we can see, deploying these technologies needn't be a burden. It is straightforward. And of course, Smoothwall is here to help with that. We're not just going to send you the link and let you get on with it. We'll hold your hand throughout that process, give you the best practice, any tips and tricks we can share with you, and really help you safeguard the children in your care as best as we can. As we mentioned, those tools free of charge: Cloud Filter, Record Manager, Classroom Manager until the end of the school year, and the extended evaluation of the active monitoring system as well. So nice and short, those are the key points, those technologies, what we have to offer and what we recommend schools should be looking at. Again, the 3 key points: filtering, monitoring, and record keeping. So yeah, anything that you want to talk to us about, any questions that you might have, please feel free to get in touch. We'll have a look at the chat now, see if we've got any questions. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rob, for that. That was really great. Yeah, feel free to drop some questions across if you have any, which we will certainly look to cover. Rob, I noticed obviously on your website you've got lots of case studies, and there's a bit of a resources hub as well, and full of content, which is fab. And I recommend that people visit that site, because there's some really good sort of UK case studies as well, of councils and schools. And it's not just schools though, is it? It's colleges and I think you've got some universities as well as customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the greatest sort of proportion of our customers tend to be individual schools and MAPs and councils. But yeah, we are seeing application of these technologies in higher education as well, perhaps where there's less of a concern about things like adult material, bullying, that kind of thing. But there's more emphasis on vulnerability, particularly with students that are more independent, that might be living in, student accommodation and are really struggling with their own mental health. And our tools can really help with that as well. But yeah, it's a really good point on the website and the case studies and articles. We've split that into 2 halves as well. So we have a set of resources for IT leaders and technicians, but also a set for DSLs and less technical people as well. And that's something that we've worked really hard on over the past couple of years, is to make sure that our non-technical customers really understand about the technology, the risks, and how it's used. Because, maybe 5 years ago, online safeguarding and safety was not really a kind of a thing that existed outside of IT. But nowadays, it's a whole school thing. And of course, DSLs have a whole school responsibility for safeguarding, as do teachers. It's really important to get the message out to the people that need to know it.
Excellent. And am I right in thinking you've got a business sort of product as well? I just saw on your website we've got a part of our business which is Atama, which looks after sort of charities and B2B, and I noticed you've got a sort of a business product as well.
Yeah, I mean it's all the same products, it's just applied in different ways. So while our core market is education, it's probably 70–80% of our business. Still do work outside of education, so we have a lot of work we do with NHS and healthcare, also across kind of blue lights, also police, fire services. And there are lots of businesses that use our technology as well, mainly on the filtering side to ensure the productivity of their employees and obviously make sure they're not looking at anything they shouldn't be. But really, yeah, that tends to be more the filtering side of it. The active monitoring, the record keeping is really an education focused side of things.
Brilliant, good stuff. Well, I don't think there's any questions through. So I just wanted to again just thank you so much for your time this morning, and just to thank our delegates as well for joining us. We've got one more webinar as part of our virtual technology conference. That will be this afternoon at 2 o'clock. And that is a Q&A session. It's basically free consultancy. So come to that session armed with any questions you've got about any technical issues that your business or your establishment may be experiencing. And our technical consultants will be online and will be happy to answer your question. So that's 2 o'clock. I will put the link into the chat now. And yeah, if you'd like to sign up for that session, great. If not, I hope you all have a wonderful bank holiday weekend. I hope that the weather is kind for you and you're able to get out and about. I'm currently based in Wales, so we're still on lockdown at the moment, so we can't really travel much, and I think we're only allowed to see one other person outside of our home. So fingers crossed, we return to some normality soon, and we find a cure and a vaccine for COVID. But thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it. And please do check out our website, academia.co.uk/VTC. All of our previous webinars are on there. All the recordings are on there. And I really appreciate your time this morning. And Rob, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Thank you very much. I'll just play the out music. Thank you.